Hello, this is D, and I'm back with another video. Well, this morning, Digital Foundry did an analysis of Gears 5 running on the Xbox Series X. Now, overall, I have to say the performance was pretty impressive running on this next generation console. But like usual, the detractors came out in hordes, and they tried to put a damper on the performance of this game running on the Xbox Series X. Now, I saw a lot of guys putting out their benchmarks of a 2080 Ti, of a 1080 Ti on PC, saying that they were getting better performance. But when you took a close look at their benchmarks, they were actually using a dynamic resolution. Now, Digital Foundry said today that the Xbox Series X is running this game anywhere from 1080p up to 4K resolution with an average of around 800p. Now, I'm going to say this right off the bat, the 1080p that they found was only in a small instance. It's not the entire game, yet you have people on social media saying that the game is performing at 1080p. This was just one instance when the game was at 1080p. For the most part, the game was running at 800p and at times peaking at 4K resolution. Now, first of all, Gears in this mode is running at a flawless 60 frames per second. It also has a 120 frames per second mode in the multiplayer component. Now, it's using all of the Ultra PC settings, plus it has contact shadow screen space global illumination, 50% higher particle counts, and more features that are not present on the PC. So this makes sense why it's not running at a 4K resolution all of the time. Now, the most important thing here is that it's running at a steady 60 frames per second with ultra PC settings and even beyond that. So not only do we have the higher frame rate, we have the visual fidelity of this game, and it looks absolutely stunning on the Xbox Series X. Let's not forget, we're also getting 120 frames per second in the multiplayer mode. Now, I can understand why some of these PC guys are actually comparing the Xbox Series X to the PC, because you're getting really good performance out of a $500 console. So these guys, they need to validate their purchase, and I guess this is why we're seeing these comparisons. Now, the Xbox Series X is a console. Its true competitor is the PlayStation 5. Now, with that being said, let's look at the benchmarks for a 2080 Ti. Now, at 4K resolution, it gets anywhere from 51 to 62 frames per second. So you are seeing drops. It's not a steady 60 frames per second. On the Xbox Series X, we are getting a 60 frames per second stable performance out of this game. Now, this is the most important thing, the stable frame rate. Not only that, we're getting a higher visual quality than found on the PC. Now, the PC version, Digital Foundry did say that it will get this update later down the line, but right now, currently, you cannot find these extra features on PC. It got pretty bad this morning. Some of the guys were even going after Digital Foundry. Now, someone asked John Lenneman, they said, "I thought that Gears was faster than the RTX 2080 without any optimizations." Now, John responded that it does, and the reason why is because the Xbox release has expensive features enabled, not available on PC, and that the old benchmark was running using just the PC Ultra settings without any of the new additions, and this is the actual reason why. So we have confirmation here that the Xbox Series X is using higher than PC settings, and that's why it may seem like it's not performing like a 2080. Now, that 2080, if you were to use the same settings that are on the Xbox Series X, it would trail the Xbox Series X by a small margin. Now, overall, I gotta say that the Xbox Series X is a very capable system. Running this game at higher than PC settings with 60 frames per second locked on the console, I think is a very good outcome. Now, the last generation, we were stuck with 30 frames per second games, and I'm always gonna take the higher frame rate over the resolution. Now, I'm sure that this game, they can have it running at a native 4K resolution, and it would probably get anywhere from 50 to 55, maybe even up to 60 frames per second, but it would not be stable. And I believe the best choice for this game is to get a stable 60 frames per second frame rate. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think about all of this. Personally, I'm impressed with the performance of Gears 5 running on the Xbox Series X. I think in the future, we're going to see more games actually taking advantage of the features on the Xbox Series X. Now, this game was only really taking advantage of variable rate shading. It didn't take advantage of the velocity architecture and all the other features that are in RDNA 2. So games that come out in the future are going to look a lot better than this game, and of course, performance is going to increase over time. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and like I usually say, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.